And welcome to the If They Can Do It podcast, the podcast that interviews absolutely ordinary people who do extraordinary things and wants you walking away thinking, hey, if they can do it, so can I. And this week, my friends, this week, there's those times where you're scrolling, you're scrolling a lot longer than you probably should have. It's the middle of the night right before you go to bed and just kind of seeing what you can find on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. And one evening I am scrolling and there is this person dancing like a mad woman with her, I don't know if it's pre-workout protein drink, I don't know, we'll find out as we discuss, but just so happy. I'm like, who is this person? Hit her profile and it's like every day she is dancing her butt off every single morning just to encourage people get their day started off on the right foot. And I was like, you know what, this is one of my people. I connect with this person so much, found out about her story, and I promise you, by the end of this episode, you are going to be so inspired by her weight loss journey and everything that she has learned along the way. So, without further ado, Maria, how's it going?
Hi, I'm so excited.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, every morning. And was I wrong? Do you wake up every single morning and do a dance with a protein shake in your hand?
No, it's not that I get asked that a lot. Everybody thinks it's like a weight loss drink or a protein shake. I get the questions like, "Is that all you do is drink protein shakes?" No, it is either pre-workout because I work out every morning.
Yep.
So it's either pre-workout or if I'm not like lifting heavy, I'll go for my greens drink.
Okay. Love it. Love it. So it just depends. You could be dancing with either one in the morning.
Yep.
All right. What made you start doing that? Just waking up and being, I'm gonna record this little thing.
So I used to just keep it in my stories, and I don't know what made me post it publicly. I mean, stories are public too, but it was just a thing when I got into my fitness part of my weight loss journey. Um, y- it's the whole you don't need like motivation to get going, which is like what I preach literally every single day, which is why I'm like, hey, this is your reminder, like, screw those excuses, get going. That was my thing, was like I created the energy. Like if I didn't feel like it, oh well, we're going to do it anyways. If
Oh
I was
wow.
tired, oh well, we're going to do it anyways. So that was like that's my way of like hyping myself up. I don't care if it's repetitive. I don't care if I don't have rhythm. It is how I'm going to get myself going. I love music. I love dancing. I mean, if you catch me working out in between sets, I'm doing what I can. So like it's just how I get myself going for the day to be motivated to just do the dang thing.
Wow. I think that's just you saying that is such a powerful message. Number one, even if you don't feel like it, like do it. But then what you said about I don't care if it's repetitive, I think that speaks really powerfully to like the power of consistency. Like
Hmm.
just doing it every single day. Who cares? It's the doing it. It is the like quote boring every single day, those little choices every single day that ultimately matter. And when you talk about your weight loss journey, we're not talking about, oh, that stubborn 25 pounds, are we?
No.
Tell everybody a little bit about what you went through.
So I lost just over 200 pounds. Um, that's my weight loss journey.
Wow.
um, so we were talking about like me doing my like pre-workout dances. I started that when I was about 80 pounds down into my weight loss journey.
Okay.
And then I added in fitness. So that's where that came in, because it was like I was doing the things and I was losing the weight. And then I was ready for that level up of like working out, but I was still at a point where like I felt I couldn't do it. Like I felt like I was too large. It was so hard. So
Wow.
that was that like mental thing for me to get my mind in the game.
Yeah. What made you, because I love it because we're kind of working backwards. We talk about consistency and all of that, but like consistency matters once you get started. What got you even started? 200 pounds is a lot. Like what made you want to change or even, think that you could?
I don't say this to be dramatic because I feel like sometimes it's like a thing that you expect people to say, but like I just didn't want to die. Like I was sick of
Wow.
feeling like I was going to die. Like I was 28. I think I was going on 29 when I had made the decision that like this was enough. Um One, I didn't want to go into like my 30s in the health that I was in. Like my health was on such a rapid decline
Wow.
that I was fearful of like was I had type 2 diabetes and it was uncontrolled. So it was really bad. And I had a lot of nights where like I would lay in bed and I would be afraid to go to sleep because I'm like, if my kids come to wake me up in the morning for school and I'm not here anymore,
Oh, wow.
what is that going to be like for them? So I know like it sounds very dramatic, but like for real, that was my biggest fear was like leaving my kids. And my health was at that point where like I honestly was fearing that all the time. So I was like, enough's enough. Like I have to do something. I can't just let this continue.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's powerful. Was there anybody who who you talked to or who kind of brought that realization? Was there like going to the doctor and them kind of jolting you to reality, or was this something that you just came to on your own?
I started on my own. So
Wow.
I avoided my doctor. Like I said, I had type 2 diabetes that was out
Yeah.
of control. It was uncontrolled, out of control, whatever you want to call it. Um, and I knew that it was getting worse. I was having more issues happening. I think the month before I had made the decision to make a change, I was in the emergency room with what we were thinking was a heart attack, like at 28 years old.
Wow.
So I heavily avoided the doctor because I didn't want him to tell me all the things that were wrong. I was like in that if I don't know, the better
Yeah.
type of mindset. So I had made the decision on my own randomly one day in the parking lot before I was going into the movies with my son. I was just like, I was so excited about food. I was so excited that we were going to go out to lunch and I was excited to like get the popcorn and the candy. And my son that I was taking to the movies, he's on the autism spectrum. And
Uh-huh.
so he's very obsessive. He has a very obsessive behavior. And he had spent like 6 months obsessing over the Sonic movie. I know kids are like crazy about Sonic, but I'm telling you, this was the very first one. He probably gave them their first 2 million views on YouTube for their trailer because that's what it was. Like all day, every day, repeating watching that trailer. He was so excited. And I had like this moment where I was like, my kid has been waiting for this for half a year. That is all he's been living and breathing for half a year. And I'm excited to go stuff my face with popcorn and eat a whole bag of candy. So it was like I had a moment in the parking lot before we went in, and I was like, I'm not going to continue to miss out on doing things like this for my kids
Yeah.
with my unhealthy ways. And two, like, I'm just done with it consuming my life like this. So it was like right then and there, I was like, okay, we're making a change. Like right now, it has to be it.
Wow. Wow. So did you being being that heavy and getting to that point, was it something that you've struggled with all your life or
Yeah.
so the whole time?
Yeah, I had always been overweight. I didn't really think when I was younger, I didn't think of myself as being like very overweight, but looking back, like I know I was bigger. I had always just seemed like I was taller, I was bigger, I was stockier. And it wasn't really until like middle school, high school where it was more of then I started getting a belly and then like my arms were bigger. And then I think I entered high school at like 200 pounds. And then I got pregnant my senior year. And my first pregnancy, I had gained 80 pounds. So, like, that packed on the weight. I did have an 11-pound baby. So, like,
Yeah.
if that,
Yeah.
And then back to back pregnancy, and then the type 2 diabetes, and it just kind of kept going up, never went down.
Wow. Well, what was your relationship with food? Was it that? Did you have kind of an unhealthy relationship with food, or do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, so food was always a comfort. Um, it feels good. Like
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
having like treats and sweets. Like I was cookies and cookie dough and brownies and cake, and like it just felt good to taste it. So I sought that. Like I did that all the time. I definitely did binge on things like that.
Yeah.
But I think I would say the majority of my problem was the amount that I was consuming. I would
Okay.
consume a lot of food when I did, because I remember like the couple years before deciding to lose weight, I eat really clean. And that was like when people say like, "Oh, all you have to do is just eat clean and you'll lose
Yeah.
weight." I ate very clean, homemade food, and I was still sitting at almost 400 pounds. It was the
Wow.
amount that I was consuming.
Yeah.
So it was that was a big thing for me, is like eating so much. But again, I think a lot of it was to feel that comfort. And as a mom of four, I did have really bad postpartum depression after my fourth. I know that like that time while I was just stuffing my face, like nothing. There was no thoughts. Like I had a break. I didn't have to, breastfeed this kid
Yeah.
who was whiny all day. I didn't have to change a diaper and have to do the dishes. So it was kind of like if I was eating, I had that mental break.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes that's your only time that you can eat. So you're just like, I don't know when I'm going to eat again. Then you just eat. We just had our daughter who just turned 8 months old, and that's my wife right now. Where it's like, okay, I need to eat right now because I may not have 5 minutes later. And your
Right.
schedule and everything is just totally thrown off anyway. Um, when when you decided to change in the parking lot, and you're like, I need to get more active, getting active and working out for anybody, there's an element of hurt. Like it's going to be painful. You're going to be sore. You're going to be blah 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 blah, right? Around it. And I'm 5 foot tall, and I peaked at like 213 pounds, and so I've lost 80 pounds now. And I
That's
remember
incredible.
just even that, when I was 213, walking hurt, like
Hmm.
everything hurt. And so with you, what when you were thinking about being active, how did you even say, okay, what am I going to do that didn't hurt? Because it was painful for me to even like run. My ankles thought, like, even just a slight walking briskly, my ankles felt like they were going to explode when I started.
Yeah, I totally like, because I remember how bad my feet hurt. I will say though, like I was active, not in a working out type of way. I mean, I remember I was a house cleaner as well. So
Okay.
like you're on your feet all the time. And I
Yeah.
remember getting like 25 to 30,000 steps a day. And that was kind of like my normal active, taking the kids to play
Wow.
outside, walking around in the woods, things like that. But it was painful. I suffered through it, but it was really painful. When I decided that I feel like that's my biggest regret. The only thing that I regret with my weight loss journey is that I didn't start working out sooner, which it led me to where I am right now, and I learned so much, but I had so much healing to do with my relationship with fitness,
Uh-huh.
because anytime I did try to work out, I did it in a way I didn't meet myself where I was at. And so prior to making the choice to do it and actually follow through, I had so many times where I would just find a random video on YouTube and I would suffer through an hour of pure torture,
Yeah.
and I had the thought of like, this is what you deserve. And it took me a lot of, I
Wow.
had to really heal that. Like, I don't deserve to feel that way. I deserve to feel good. And it took a lot for me to get past that to get into movement. So when I started my weight loss journey, I didn't necessarily focus on, I'm going to do this workout or I'm going to walk this many miles. My goal was to get some steps in, and just move more throughout the day. So for me, that looked like while I was cooking dinner, I was going to step from side to side and I was going to keep my feet marching. When I
Hmm.
was folding laundry, I was going to stack piles all throughout the living room instead of right in front of me and sitting on the floor. So it was just that little bit until I really worked on my mindset and I felt better about myself and I was talking better to myself, then I inserted that's why I said like I was 80 pounds down when I started working out.
Yeah.
So, and then because I had lost weight, it was very uncomfortable. It still hurt. Even though I was 80 pounds down,
Hmm.
it was still really uncomfortable and I had to push through a lot, but you just the more consistent you are, the easier it gets.
Yeah. And I think that's an aspect of weight loss that isn't talked about enough, is that process of learning how to speak to yourself differently and learning how to train your eyes about what you see and what you like and what you don't like when you look in the mirror. Because that, I mean, a lot of people don't think about that. They just think, oh, scale, you should be happy, right? That, yay, but studies have been done that the overwhelming majority, and this is for anybody, the overwhelming majority of the thoughts that we have are repetitive, and the overwhelming majority of those thoughts are negative. And some of it makes complete sense because you want to know danger, you want to, oh, is something gonna, that kind of stuff. But then other parts are things that we tell about ourselves. So for example, what you were talking about, I deserve to feel this way, this is, that. um how did you how did you retrain your brain to kind of take those thoughts off of repeat and think differently?
As I worked through, like, it was a whole healing my relationship with myself, I guess, because I had to really be cautious of what I was saying to myself. And as I was going through, like, healing my relationship with food, like, why do I feel this way? Why am I having these thoughts? Just really digging back to like where it's all coming from,
Hmm.
what's making me think that way. Um, I feel like kind of just working on my mindset with myself and how I viewed myself. And that's it. I didn't even think that I was that awful to myself, but I realized that I was having these small little things like this is what you deserve. This is what you get. And this is your punishment. Working through those for me looked like I journaled a lot.
Yeah.
Um I didn't really do any like reading. I'm not really like I'm more of like a podcast and
Yeah.
audiobook. And there is a podcast that I did listen to that I don't know how many times I have thanked her. The way that she has like coached through your mindset when it comes to food and your body and moving. And I feel like that really helped me a lot and that helped guided me with how I journaled and getting my thoughts out. I think like the journaling did so much for me.
Yeah. That's so awesome because that's half the battle, honestly. I think a lot of people in their weight loss journey, they yo-yo because they get disappointed because there's no quote like they're there. They think that once they hit the number on the scale, oh, I can't wait because I'm going to feel so much self-worth once I get there. And then they get there, but the thoughts are still on repeat. The things that they would call themselves are still on repeat. And it's no wonder why there's disappointment. Like it wasn't supposed to be that way. Like skinny people are supposed to think wonderful. Like they have all these other things, right? Nobody thinks certain things like they're lazy or they don't do anything to skinny people, right? But it's just the fact that you worked on that, you journaled, that you kept track, maybe not even deliberately, but you incorporated it into it, is just such a piece that I think people don't talk about enough.
I agree. I definitely, that's the one thing that I tell anybody is like your mindset truly can like make or break it. Really. If you focus on that, heal whatever relationships you have to heal with yourself, with your food, with fitness, with your family, like with your home life. You work on that and you like create a strong foundation, you will make it sustainable because you're not like toughening it up. You're not just anybody can do anything just to make something happen, but to like make the real sustainable changes, like you're going to have to do it in a way that is going to be sustainable, that you can do it forever. So unpacking all of that, dealing with all of that along the way, so you know you can live like this for the rest of your life. Because that was the thing for me. I was like, I'm not going to work so hard to lose. I didn't even know how much weight I needed to lose. I knew it
Yeah.
was definitely going to be over 100 pounds. And I'm like, I'm not going to tough it out. I'm not going to talk crap to myself the whole entire way just to get there. Then what do I do when I'm there? I
Yeah.
don't want to panic when I'm there and be like, oh, what do I do? Like, do I just keep being mean to myself? Do I just keep punishing myself? Do I keep restricting all of these things? So instead, I knew that like the real changes needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And even as you're talking about that healing process, I know for me and my healing process with food, I didn't realize that like when I would eat so much, how bad I felt. Like just like tired and just like, "Ugh," I just thought like, oh yeah, you eat and then you get tired and then you take a nap. And the whole
Yeah.
idea that like you could eat and go, oh yeah, energy, calories are energy. This feels really good. Now let's go on to the rest of the day. That eating could feel good was a whole new thing to me. And that's kind of a thing that I've learned to gauge is like, no, I can stop right now because I feel good and I can
Mm-hmm.
go on with my day. And it does change the relationship with food and your thoughts. And you don't feel bad because you ate X, Y, or Z when before it's like, yep, see, you ate the wrong thing this one time, just like I knew you would, Isaac. That kind of thing. You're not as hard on yourself because overall you have a healthy relationship with it, and you know that good days. And I don't even know if you should even call them good days or bad days. You're just human, and the rest of the stuff, working out and everything else, is just habits, right? Right.
Yeah.
If you classify things as good days or bad days, well, what happens when you do something good? You should be rewarded. What happens when you do something bad? You should be punished. And that's not the way that we should think about our health or like being there for our kids.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So what made you go from, okay, I want to be there for my kids, I don't want to die, to I have this phone in my hand and I'm going to start sharing this with people and building a community online?
Um, so when I started, um, I don't know how I put this to myself, and I don't want to say it's like a punishment or anything like that. When I had made the decision that I was going to do it, a reward, I guess you would say, or I don't know. I told myself that I was taking myself off social media until I lost my first 50 pounds. And I was like, however long that's going to take me, which I really only took myself off of Facebook because that's what and then at the time I honestly felt like I was on it too much, like
Mm-hmm.
mindlessly,
Mm-hmm.
like before I was using it for what I use it now. I was just so much all the time on it. So I was like, I'm going to take this away and I'm going to focus on me. Like remove that time and insert me time. Once I reach my first goal of losing 50 pounds, then I can have it back. Well, I lost that 50 pounds in 2 months and I felt so good, but I was sharing it like on my Snapchat, like randomly. Like I was excited.
Yeah.
I never like actually lost weight like that. And that was kind of fast, like 50 pounds
Yeah.
in I think it was like 2.5 months. That was really fast. And I was like in the knowing that I have over 100, possibly 200, I knew like I need this. And so I would share a little bit like I lost 10 pounds and I would put it in my Snapchat story or I'd put it in my Instagram story, which I never used Instagram. It was kind of just like random photos for the
Yeah.
filter. Um, but then people would ask me like, what are you doing? Like, oh my gosh, you look so good. And I loved hearing that from people who are like, girl, I need to do the same thing. Please tell me, like, what are you doing? How are you doing that? So then once I got back on Facebook, which was like my main account, I started sharing, like, this is what I was up to. And the feedback that I got was like shocking. Like, I know everybody congratulates people because it's great when you lose weight and they want
Yeah.
to know what you're doing. But the amount of people that were like, did you have surgery? Because like I feel like it was something that was expected.
Yeah.
When you are so overweight, like people just assume that you're going to have surgery. Especially, I lost 50 pounds in 2.5 months. So
Yeah.
the amount of people that are like, are you getting ready to have surgery or you didn't? Like they were shocked. And I was like, I need to share it. I need to share this because I also felt so stuck for so long staying where I was because I didn't want to have weight loss surgery. And I spent so many years thinking that that was my only solution.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I had that moment in the parking lot, it was like, I needed to prove that it was possible. And I just like disclaimer, I have absolutely nothing wrong with weight loss surgery,
Hmm.
GLP-1, anything like that. Like whatever your method is, that is great. And I like healthy weight loss is amazing no matter what. So, but for me, I was terrified to have surgery. So I was like, okay, well, that's not going to happen for me.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I was like, well, if I have the surgery, I've had friends who had it and they gained their weight back because they didn't make the other changes
Yeah.
to last. So then I was like, well, I have to make those changes anyways. I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this. Like I'm going to prove that I can 100% do this. And then when I had inserted myself back on social media, I was like, I wonder how many people there are just like me who don't think it's possible. I wonder how many people are sitting there stuck crying at night, thinking that they're going to die one day because they think their only solution to changing their life and losing weight is something they so desperately do not want to do, weight loss
Hmm.
surgery. So that was kind of like when I started sharing, my focus was proving like you can do this on your own.
Hmm. Yeah. And so it's interesting people's different preconceptions when somebody starts losing weight. It's like, oh, this, oh, that. And it's like positive and negative. Like I remember I had posted a picture and I had never seen abs ever in my life, like ever, all of my life. And I was like, well, like I'm so proud. Like this has been working. I've been working really hard, kind of a thing. And I said, but like I have so many other goals that I have, like not even weight loss, but just like physically, like I want to run an ultra within like the next year, do high rocks next year. Like I had those goals. And that was kind of the
That's
context.
awesome.
That's the context that I was writing in. And just getting a message from people who like I knew tangential, like like the new way back when Facebook friends, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing, and was like, hey, you need to realize some of us are still struggling and blah 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 blah, and you need to be grateful for all this kind of stuff. And it's just an interesting world, the weight loss thing, and how different people perceive different people's stories and what they're proud of and what they're not proud of. I'm sure you've gotten it from every different direction.
Oh man, I like when I started sharing, I didn't even think it was a lot. I honestly was like afraid to share too much because I didn't want people to like get annoyed. The amount of people, even family members that like unfriended me or just like unfollow, like you can take a break, like you
Yeah,
can still be
yeah.
friends with them and unfollow them. The amount of people that did that just because they didn't think I was going to stick to it. They thought it was annoying. That's all I talked about. And I remember at one point I was sitting down and I went through and I counted how many times I like shared about it. And like in a 2 month span, I think I made like 3 posts where now it's like 3 posts a day.
Hmm.
But I think it was like one, I was doing something good. And sometimes, unfortunately, people that are even close to you don't want to see you
Yeah.
succeed. They don't want to see you do what they think that they can't, or they don't believe that you're actually going to stick to it. So they don't want to buy into the hype. So I definitely dealt with all sorts of like, did she have surgery? And unfortunately, like the way that things are and the area that I live in, people assumed drugs. So did I have
Mm.
surgery? Did I start doing drugs? Was I like depressed? And it was everything but like, did she make real changes? So yeah, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so interesting. And even if somebody, well, another element, and this is just part of mine and my wife's story, is, and I've shared this on the podcast. We've seen it in other areas too. So there's been like my weight loss stuff, and then I can't have kids, and so we've had to use a donor.
Hmm.
And even like people's pain, sometimes people not liking your weight losses comes from their something they're going through too. and here's somebody who's had doing positive things, and the hurt just makes them see it in a certain way. And I've had to kind of like pause sometimes. It's made me pause to be like, do I post about the kids? Because there are people like me who can't have kids but don't have the job that I do that comes with the insurance that I do to be able to actually like do IVF or IUI and stuff like that. And so it's social media it's a double-edged sword about how people will feel about it. And then in the real world too, when you have weight loss the way that you have, like a lot of, I'm not sure if you looked at the statistics, but a lot of marriages it can be hard on too. And you're married.
Mhm.
And how did you handle that to kind of come out of it so successfully? Because I love seeing the pictures of like the family and all of that on your social.
So I knew, I guess I didn't know like statistics and such, but before I ever lost weight, before I got with my husband, I had friends who had lost massive amount of weight. And I watched them go through that feeling good and
Yeah.
changing things. And then they left their husbands. And I was always just like, why? Like I didn't understand it. Like that's their business, whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that when I was going into my weight loss journey, I was like, nothing should change, that my marriage should be affected because I'm not changing. I'm just fixing my health. Like I'm
Yeah.
still me. I'm not going to be somebody different. So there's something that I kind of actually thought of a lot. And I think that people were expecting that because it is very common. You do see it often.
Yeah.
Somebody loses a lot of weight and then there goes their marriage or their relationship. Um, Literally nothing changed at all. My husband, I kind of didn't even tell him that like, hey, I'm making this big change. I kept it to myself and I just started doing things. And I'm sure he knew because he could see like I wasn't eating as much and I was paying attention to like how I was plating my food and things like that. And then when I had told him like I'm just like I'm gonna do it, like I'm gonna prove to myself that I can do it, there was never, okay, we'll see, and there was just never anything from him besides you can do it. Like that's it. Like he just
Yeah.
supported me and still supports me and just believes that I can do it and lets me do my thing. And there's never been any issues. If anything, maybe he just is probably like, why are you at the gym so much?
Right. Right. Is there something in the weight loss journey? Because a lot of people think, oh my gosh, you lost so much weight, life must be like absolutely amazing, and that's fantastic. Is there something on maybe not the bright, happy, sunny side about weight loss that you wish people knew when drastic transformations are made too?
I mean, I think the thing for me probably would be like body dysmorphia. I mean, you get excited and you're like, I can't wait to wear all the cute clothes. Like I wrote that every day in my journaling. I had goals. Like I had my main goal that like my reason for doing this, and then I broke it down into like five other goals that I
Yeah.
was excited about. And one of them that I wrote down every single day was to wear cute clothes. And I remember like at losing weight, I got to buy real clothes instead of just living in leggings and it's a tank top.
Mhm.
It was exciting, but then it's like as you're going through that, it's like, oh, it doesn't look how I thought it would. Or, oh my gosh, like I thought this was gonna look so great, but when I'm looking in the mirror, I feel like I look like I used to. Like, and even
Yeah.
now, I lost the 200 pounds. I really, really struggled before I had my loose skin removed on my stomach. I really struggled with if I just caught a glimpse of myself from the side in front of the mirror and I saw that stomach hanging over, like all I could see was almost 400-pound me.
Yeah.
And so that's something that was like the biggest thing that like you think, and I guess I can't speak for everybody because it's not all the time, but you think you're going to be like, yes, I love my new body. I can wear all these cute clothes. I can do all this. But like, then there's these moments where, that's the confusing part because you think it's going to be all rainbows. And you're
Yeah.
like, why do I feel this way sometimes? Some days I wake up and I am like, I look great. And then an hour later, I could be like, why do I look like I had gained 80 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other element of it, too. What you talked about is losing all that weight, and having loose skin, right? And kind of, you probably knew, did you know that would probably be the case, losing that much weight, that skin would be an issue, or was that kind of a surprise?
I gue- like I knew, but I guess I didn't really like expect it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't honestly don't know. Like when I started, that's not what I thought about. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say is like that wasn't even a thought because I wasn't so focused on that. I was just focused on the better health, the
Yep.
being there for my kids, the being active that didn't matter to me, that I didn't think of it until I got like halfway through and I'm like, "Oh, this is starting to hang over here and this is like it's a lot looser and I have to wear these compression leggings to hold it in or else, it sways and I don't like it." So it wasn't something that I thought about at the beginning, but as I was going through it, I knew that I definitely was going to have a lot. And no matter what all the opinions that I got, drink this tea, don't eat this, brush it with this, go lay out on the sun. I don't know, all the random things. It's like, how is all of that just going to go away?
Yeah.
Like, that had been stretched out my whole entire life. And before I had my loose skin removed, it was just skin and just like, getting on all fours and just seeing it hang. I'm like, the only way is to be surgically removed or I just deal with it. And it I'm glad that I didn't think about it beforehand because I do get a lot of comments from people like, "Oh, I'm just worried about the loose skin. I couldn't live with that." But I'm like, I couldn't continue living the way that I was living. I would take that loose skin any day.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I like I said, I'd lost 80, so it was kind of a slower, and things were able to tighten up. But every now and again, if I'm like dehydrated, the bottom of my neck or like my arms will get it, and I'll be darned if my 8 month old will always find it and just
Oh
grab
yeah.
and pull and do the thing. But yeah, I have a friend who did have the surgery, and that's, it's a struggle. It's like doing all the right things. I know I'm fit, I know I can do all the things, but it's just like, gosh dang it, like aesthetically this wasn't what I thought it would be. I
Mhm.
want it to be what I thought, and I know it's under there, but it looks different. And sometimes that's kind of a cool thing to have to come to terms with, is that it'll look different. The end will look different than what you thought, but the end still means that you're going to be there for your kids and you're healthy. And like, that's really the ending that you
Yeah.
were wanting.
Mhm.
Um, the, the surgery that you had to remove the skin, did that help mentally or aesthetically with the dysmorphia or anything like that? Or is it still,
Yes and no. It does. Yes. The healing process, and I'm only just over a year out, so
yeah,
I feel like I'm a year out. I feel like things would be great, like with the swelling fluctuations, but then I had a hysterectomy 3 months, almost 4 months ago. So then that added on a whole different, so it's different now because I don't have that. Um, the in like my abdomen, but when I get swollen, it's now a different challenge to see, it nice and tight and slim
yeah,
to then sometimes I'm just like big boxed and puffy because I'm very swollen. So
yeah,
that was very different. And then for me personally, because I have so much skin and I chose to have multiple surgeries, and the way that I chose to go about having those surgeries left me with a lot of skin still in the upper abdomen and then my like arms and
yeah,
sides of my breast and back, that now I focus on that. So now that like I traded one for another.
yeah, yeah,
um but I would say it's not as I'm lying. Nope. No, because I I feel like I do struggle a lot more now because it's because I feel like my bottom is nice and tight
yeah,
and things fit great, and then I feel like I'm just busting out the top. But some days I can handle it. Some days I'm like, okay, it's fine. I look great. I know that this is going to get taken care of one day. It doesn't look that bad. And then some days I'm like, what the heck? I feel like I'm just a can of biscuits.
Yeah. See, I thank you for being vulnerable and and sharing that, because I feel like there's an element even for people who aren't on a weight loss journey, like whatever they're going through, whether it's a business, whether it's whatever, whoever may be listening to this. I think understanding that you're going to have those days that are great, you're going to have those days that are bad, and there may not even be a difference between the days, just you feel like perceiving something a certain way on a given day, and that's normal, and it kind of goes back to where this conversation started, where are you going to dance and choose to dance anyway and hype yourself up anyway and get what you need to get done anyway, because how you feel about the day is going to be how you feel about the day, and you can't get too high on the highs, you can't get too low on the lows. You just need to do it,
Mhm.
I think that is so encouraging for anybody who's doing anything, even if they aren't on a weight loss journey.
Yeah, totally
So
agree.
good. What was your first like, whoa, I could do something I wasn't able to do before kind of moment in your weight loss?
Oh, I think the thing that like sticks out the most was that not that I couldn't do it before. I guess I didn't think that I could. I'm a runner.
Let's
So
go.
I thought, like I said for so long, I'm a runner. I miss it so, so much. I have not returned back to running. I started to return after my hysterectomy and then I swelled things up. So I'm still on a break and I miss it so
Yeah.
much. But it's crazy to say that because I knew like 5 years ago, if you would have told me that I'm gonna be sitting here saying I miss running so much, it's been so long, it's been a month. I'm dying without it. I would be like, "What? We run?" Because one, I used to have asthma really bad, so I
Yeah.
struggled to breathe, and then my feet, I carried around so much weight, they hurt all the time. I had just told myself like, "You can't run. Like it's not a thing for you. You don't know how to run properly," which I had to learn how to run properly.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn how to breathe while I was running. That was something that they told me in elementary school. Like my gym teacher would always be like, "You need to control your breathing. You can't run like that." And so I just always told myself, I can't run. But for some reason, I wanted to do it so badly because I told myself I couldn't. And when I started to run, it was little. It was like, I think I would do like 30 seconds and I was
Yep.
dying for 30
Yep.
seconds. And then I'd go walk for 5 minutes. And then I'd be like, okay, we're going to do 30 more seconds. I would die for 30 seconds and then I would walk. And then I just slowly like increased it to where, I was running a whole minute. I remember when I ran a whole minute, I like about cried. I ran a whole minute and I didn't actually die.
That's
And then
amazing.
I ran a 5K and then I ran a 10K and then I did a half marathon. So it was just like doing that showed me that like you really can do whatever. Like you can't tell yourself that you can't do anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's been a couple years since I've talked about it on the podcast, but I think running is a great way to teach yourself that you lie to yourself a lot. And when I first started running, I had a buddy who, like, when you talk about I'm not built for running, I can't run. My buddy was the opposite. He's that one who like runs up a mountain and looks like a freaking like deer. You're like, that's really pretty. Like the way he's doing it, just he was built to do that. And so he's one of those runners. And we were running to a work meeting, and I lived like maybe a half a mile away from work. He goes, yeah, we'll be fine. We're gonna leave 45 minutes early, half a mile, maybe 10 minutes. We'll be there early, whatever. And we were late because I
Oh,
couldn't run downhill. My knees, my ankles felt like they were gonna
oh
explode.
yeah.
But then I got out the next day, exactly what you had said. And I remember going down that same hill and there was a stop sign. And I remember the thoughts creeping out, that like creeping into my head of like, oh, I can't run past that stop sign. I'm dying. I can't run. I can't. And I'm just like, I close my eyes and I'm just running, telling myself I can't do it. And by the time I opened my eyes, I had already passed the stop sign. And it was just such an awakening of like, oh, wow, I lie to myself. I lie to myself about what else have I lied to myself about? And it's really cool to kind of examine what you're capable of and kind of go, oh, okay. So strong is never a word that I would associate with myself, but I think you probably have to be pretty dang strong, to do what you've done, right? You have to
Hmm.
be pretty disciplined to do what you've done, but throughout life you've never associated these words with yourself. Like you said runner before, and that's kind of a cool process to unpack and to attach words that you would never in a million years would have attached to yourself.
Right. I think like all the things that I do now, like the way I describe myself and the active lifestyle that I live, I always wanted to,
Yeah.
but I never pictured it ever. Like, yeah, I wish, I want to, I would love to, but I couldn't ever actually picture it. Like, would I have 5 years ago thought of myself climbing up a rock wall? Heck no. Like, what? First of all, like, we could pull ourselves up
Yeah,
and
yeah,
something's gonna hold us. Like, trusting something to hold my weight, that was a huge thing. And then, like, I have the strength to pull myself up. Never would have thought of things like that.
yeah. Were you of age? And I'm just kind of showing my age, so I'm 41. Did you in school have to do like the like PE exams of like running a mile or like doing the rope climb or anything
I
like
knew
that?
you were gonna say the rope. I knew. I knew when you're like the PE exams, I'm like, he's gonna ask me if I ever had to do the rope. Yes, and I never did the rope.
Yeah,
I
I
could
never
never do
did
the rope.
either. I could never, I never can do the
I
rope.
mean, I
Can
could
you?
hang at the bottom and swing, but
Right, that was
moving my
about,
arms?
yeah,
No.
yeah, no,
No, I
I,
could not.
I could not understand how people could do it. Are you able to do pull-ups now?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm got so much muscle
Yeah,
like repair that's happening.
yeah,
I can kind of, but I'm not at the point where I can let myself try to yet.
yeah. I mean, I've gotten it, and I could like pull myself more than what I've been able to. But I think that might be a goal next year to see if I can like do the assisted bands first, and then
Oh
by the
yeah.
end of next year be able to do 10
That's
because
my goal too. I want to do pull-ups. I can do like the assisted pull. I use the assisted pull-up machine and I
yeah,
have used bands. Um, but I can't do it without it.
yeah. Yeah, I want to be able to. I'm able to like climb. If I were to be do the rope now, I can do it now. But it's kind of funny those things from childhood where you're like, yeah, younger me would think like I'm such a badass right now that I'm
Yeah.
able to do this thing. And it kind of does make you proud. It's kind of like a present to younger you when you're able to do something that younger you couldn't.
Yeah. And I would be shocked. Younger me would be shocked, but I love showing my kids because
That's
I'm
awesome.
like I want my kids to think that their mom's a badass.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah,
if
no,
I can't
that's
swear,
fine.
but I'm
Yeah.
like I want them to think that like my mom can do whatever, and they do. Like they're like, oh, my mom could do that, or I'll hear the little ones brag like, oh, but my mom could, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Do you get when people reach out to you on social media and stuff and they are still in the mindset of like I can't. They haven't turned the corner to even like see themselves be able to do something. What what's your reaction to that? Are you more of a like Goggins like, "Hey, you better let go of that thought, carry the boats," or like more empathetic?
I try to be I try to be soft, but I'm like tough love
Hmm.
because and I don't get it twisted with like I was harsh to myself and I was mean to myself throughout my journey. I was just very no BS with myself.
Yep.
Like, is this an excuse? We're just making excuses. Like this is bull crap. It's just an excuse. We're gonna push past it. So when I get that from other people, I might come off really mean. I'm not. I swear I'm so nice. But I come at them with tough love and like, well, that's just your excuse. Like, throw all your excuses at me, and I'm gonna throw you all the reasons why you still can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that mental exercise is so important because I've had episodes on here where we talk about confidence, and really confidence isn't thinking more of yourself. Confidence is being able to trust yourself, and if you can know that you're going to do something even when you don't feel like it, right? Like taking care of your kids, even when you're bigger, there's no question that your kids would be taken care of. If they if
Yeah.
they if they needed food, they would get food. If they needed clothes, they wouldn't go out without shoes, that kind of a thing. And so you could trust yourself as a parent, but you have to be able to build the trust with yourself, with your health, that no, I'm going to make the right decision. I know that when I tell myself I'm going to do this thing, that I'm going to do this thing. And that feels good. Like that ultimately is confidence, that you are a trustworthy person to you.
I love that you used that example because that is literally what I always compare it to that. When anybody says like I can't, I don't have time, I don't feel like it. Well, if you're a mom, I tell me that you feel like making dinner that probably one kid's gonna eat. Tell me that you're bursting with excitement to go wash all that laundry. Who stands at the kitchen sink with every dish dirty saying, "Yay, I can't wait. I'm so excited." No, you don't. Like, I'm not bursting with excitement and motivation to go do the dishes. I don't want to cook dinner every day. I don't want to wash the laundry. I don't want to, drive to all the sports and things, but like if I don't, then who will?
Mhm.
If I don't do it, who will? I mean, my husband's incredible. He will actually. If I don't, my husband will. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
you're a mom, you're like, if you don't do it, then who will? Well, who else is going to take care of your health? If
Yep.
you don't do it, the only other person that can take care of you is when you're lying in the hospital and you have to have somebody take care of you. So I always compare it to that. Even if you're not a mom and you don't have kids, male or female, if you don't have kids, you have to cook yourself dinner. And
Mhm.
even if it's not for kids, like you just have to do it, right? Nobody enjoys doing that all the time.
Yep.
There's so many things. You have to go to work, right? Who is so excited? I mean, if you're excited to go to work every day, that's great. I love working every day because this is what I get to do. But like not everybody enjoys going to work every day, especially like when you're just starting out and you're trying to like, progress in something. It's
Yeah.
not always exciting. You're not on your way to work thinking, "I can't wait to get there." No, you just have to do it. So I relate that to yourself, whether it's, making better choices with your food, moving your body, or just taking care of yourself in general. Like you don't have to feel like it. You just have to do it because nobody else can.
Yep. Yep. And that's probably the most encouraging thing about like making a difference in your life, because you already know that you have the skill because you do things that you don't want to do all the time. So now just
Every
flex
single
that
day.
skill.
Yep.
Just flex that skill. You already have it. And so now, for whatever reason, whatever association, whatever kind of things, whatever, that skill hasn't been applied to your health, apply it. And the only decision, there's something that I wrote down once, and I've put it in a couple stories, where you're not responsible for everything, you're just responsible for the next thing. And so what's the next decision that you have for your health? Is it the portion that you're going to put on your plate? Cool. Just make a good decision with that decision, because that's what's in your hand, right? Is it when the alarm goes off that you're going to get up? Yes, like trust yourself with the decision that when that goes off, that's your next decision, is get up, because you have to lose 1 pound to lose 200.
Yep.
And there wasn't one magical thing where you're like, oh, thank you, Mega Shake. I drank you once, and the next week 200 pounds was off.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
nothing happens that way. Being a good parent wasn't like you had a baby and you're like downloaded how to be a great mom. That's not the way that it happens. And so we just have to let ourselves navigate being healthy the same way we navigate things that we haven't had a choice in and just had to do too.
Mm-hmm.
And that should be, I don't know, to me that's encouraging, because you're not in as uncharted waters as you might think.
Yep. Exactly.
So Maria, there's going to be people who listen to this and who are going to think 200 pounds. I'm so happy that she proved to herself that she could do that. But listen, I can't even believe that I can lose 25 pounds, or I can't believe that I can do a business or whatever their goals are, learn guitar, whatever they want to do. I can't even see myself as that. So I'm not starting. I'm too scared to start the process because maybe I've lost weight before and put it right back on. Maybe I started something and I've attached the label of somebody who can't finish what I start, et cetera, the million things that we can attach to ourselves. For those people who would listen to your story and say, good for you, but not me, what would you encourage them with to say, hey, if I could do it, you can too?
I literally would say exactly that. Like, that is what I do. That is why I share, because I want to show you that, like, I am no different than you. If I can do it, if I can overcome all of those challenges, if I can push past all of those excuses, all the circumstances that I had, you can too. Like, you just have to believe in yourself. I say it all the time. Like, I'm just showing you what I've done so you can believe that you can do it too.
Ah, I love that because again, there's no magic to it. There's not like one thing. And I think so many people are just like, man, if I listen to this podcast, they're going to tell me the one magic thing that's going to change my life. But a lot of times it's like consistency. Gosh dang it, that's not sexy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like making good choices. Gosh dang it. No, like I know that and I don't want to do that. So tell me something that I do want to do, and so thank you. Thank you for being like so practical, for being so vulnerable with your story. With there's so many elements to it, and it was an honor to be a part of you sharing all of that. For those listening who are like, okay, I need my morning dancing. Dance if you don't want to, dance if you want to, whatever. Where could they find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, Maria George. My handle is Fiercely Fit Mama. You should be able to find me. You'll see all of my morning videos right away. I'm also on Facebook as well, Maria George.
Awesome. So no TikTok, no anything like that yet.
Yeah, I guess I forget about TikTok. It's like my catch-all. But yeah, I'm Fiercely Fit Mama at TikTok. So you're gonna get basically the same thing I have on my Instagram. That's my main. So everywhere else
Yeah.
just gets
Fantastic. Well, y'all, I told you that you would be inspired. I knew some parts of the story, not all of it. And I'm telling you, I'm listening to this episode after we're done recording. As soon as it downloads, I'm going to be listening to it. I picked up so many just fantastic nuggets. And just a reminder to you, if you want more people to hear stories like Maria's, you know the name of the game. Subscribe, leave a review, not because I need more subscribers. No, there's rules to this game called podcasting. So go ahead and do that. Give me a follow at iCamargo at Instagram or on Instagram. And hey, do something this week to make you proud of you. All right. We'll see you later. All right. There we go. Oh, that was so
Thank you